Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about how to make a bird's nest, and there's a lot of different ways to do it. And some people think that a bird's nest and a tinder bundle are the same thing, but they're pretty similar, but they're two very different techniques. Today we're just going to be talking about how to make a bird's nest and how to construct it the best way that works for me. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but the way I'm going to show you works really well. It always has for me.
Alright, I went ahead and found us a old abandoned bird's nest. It's no longer been in use. Wanted to kind of show you guys what a real one looks like, just so you can kind of get a good idea on what one looks like and how it's really constructed. This one's got some mud in it. You don't really need mud, but this is the only one I could really find in my area. But you can see that it's got all this dead dried grass. That stuff's going to catch a flame really easily. And you can see that it's got little sticks and twigs in it. Some cedar leaves and pieces of bark is in there. There's a lot of different materials in here. Alright guys, this is a cedar tree here. You see all this stringy bark that's on it. Some of this. Gathered up quite a bit of it here. And this stuff works really good for a bird's nest. Alright guys, I managed to find us some dried pine needles too. And this stuff works really well for a bird's nest. Plus it's going to have some of those resins from the pine tree still in some of those needles. It's going to help it act as an accelerant too. Alright guys, you can see I've got some grapevine here. This stuff works really good because you can just take some of this stuff off right here, this bark from the grapevine, and you can use it in your bird's nest, and that stuff works really well. This is something else that actually works really well, is these dead leaves of the cedar tree. You can mix those in with it as well. I mean, this thing's already dead, so you can get as much of it as you want. Keep a closer look at that. This stuff works really good too, guys. These dead dried leaves here. This stuff right here works really well, guys. This is dead dry grass. That's mainly what I'm going to be gathering up. Remember, you don't want anything green. You want it to be dead dry grass. Everything's got to be dead and dry. Alright guys, we went ahead and we've gathered up our materials for our bird nest. We've got our dead dry grass, our cedar bark, and some of the leaves from the cedar tree. We got our dead dried pine needles, and we got our grapevine bark. And now all we got left to do is we're going to combine these together to make a really nice bird's nest. Right, you can see how I've got a dead dried grass kind of folded up here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of spread it apart. Not too much, but just like that. Now we're going to kind of put our other materials around there in the center and kind of throughout. Just take your grapevine bark, put that in there. Just like that. You can take your pine needles here, put those right on top of it. And you're going to want to put the most combustible stuff on top, and that's going to be our cedar bark here. This stuff right here. Put that right in the center. Make kind of an indention in it.
you guys close up.
Alright guys, we got it all gathered up. Everything's been kind of combined. See, I got my little indention here made in the center with the cedar bark on top. This is the most fibrous stuff, so that's where the ember is going to go. Right there in the middle in that indention. And remember that the difference between a bird's nest and a tinder bundle is that with a tinder bundle you can use like a lighter or matches, things like that to start it. But if you're going to be using primitive techniques like a bow drill or a hand drill, fire plow, stuff like that, then you're going to need to make a bird's nest, because a bird's nest is, you can hold it up and you can breathe life into it and create the fire. Where if you're making a fire and you've already got matches or you've got a lighter, you can just light it up and start it. It's a lot different than a bird's nest.
Now we're going to take this ember, we're going to put it right in that center in that indention we made. Put it so the ember is standing up and it's not face down, so it doesn't accidentally get put out. Now, just pick it up, just give it some, just blow it to life just a little bit at a time. You want to hold it tight, but not too tight. If you hold it too tight, it'll go out. So you want to hold it kind of loose, but not too loose. I'm going to kind of hold it up at an angle like this too. That way it rises up, heat rises, so you kind of want to keep it held up. Kind of keep your fingers away from it too. Just like that. Alright guys, the fire's about ready to die out. And we're just going to let it die out. I'm going to make sure it's out, probably pour some water on it, make sure it's out. But remember that anytime that you're trying to construct a natural bird's nest, that there's a lot of different stuff you can use. You don't have to just use the materials I showed you. There's almost too many different materials to name. But I mean, you can use things like cattail and thistledown. Those both work really well. And those will take a spark like crazy. But I hope this video helped you guys out and you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching it. Subscribe and I'll have more next week. Thanks for watching, guys.